Welcome to the Take Your Power Back show with Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater. Today's empowering program will encourage you to step into your power, to take action in your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. Listen in today as we speak to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be inspired. Be encouraged. Be transformed. Together, let's take your power back with our host, Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach, Kim Yater.
All right, guys, welcome to the latest episode of Blood Money. Today we have a very special guest, Lynz Loomis. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. How are you, sir?
Good. So, Lynz, we brought you on because there's been a little bit of controversy in our freedom movement that we wanted to clear up some, I guess, misconception, rumors, slander, defamation. I don't know what it is, but we definitely want to make sure to clean it up. Do you want to start off with, quickly telling us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Lynz Loomis. I serve on an anti-trafficking board within America's Future. And I also operate in some investigative journalism. I'm finishing my degree. I am an actual survivor, overcomer of paid child rape, aka child sex slavery. I escaped at 16 and a half. And it was a brutal story, but that's why I fight for truth so much in this sector. So, I do a lot of traveling, teaching overcomer seminars to victims, survivors, and those that want to get involved in the anti-trafficking movement to understand mindset, how to shift that and shift our heart here in America.
Yeah, amazing work. And you work with some of the people that we know in the freedom world. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Or
yeah, I try not to name drop too much. On the board, the executive director of America's Future is Mary O'Neill. General Michael Flynn is the chairman of that organization. It's 80 years old organization. It's one of the first nonprofits in America. Laura Logan's on the board, Mike Smith, Liz Crokin. And when I talk about the anti-trafficking board, some of these individuals are on the advisory board, but the anti-trafficking board, we've got Ben Moore, also known as Sun Tzu in X, and we've got I know I'm leaving some people off, but ARC, Association for the Recovery of Children, Tara Rodas has joined us. We have tons of people. I know I'm leaving off people.
It's
Allie
cool. You know, a
Hopper.
lot of people we've had on this podcast, actually,
Yeah.
including Mary O'Neill, who's got an episode coming up, Mary Flynn O'Neill. So, you've been, point being, you're in the epicenter of all this stuff. You're a well-connected person. You know what's going on out there. There's been some controversy, and I'm going to put up an article here that I'd love for you to tell us what's going on here. Where were your receipts? It's called. So this is the article. Do you mind telling us a little bit about how this article came about and the problems it addresses?
Yeah. So if you scroll up just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
so first of all, I actually had never met Mark Anthony or spoken to him prior to all of this happening. So Pinocchio is obviously what it means. So if you scroll down just a little bit more, I kind
Mm-hmm.
of talk just about the facts, or up, I'm sorry, about this situation. So Craig Sawyer posted a post, and it's just a little bit further down inside of that article. And he said that Mark Anthony is a fraud and he doxed him.
Oh, this
And
right here.
so,
Is this
yes,
it?
and
Okay.
yep, that's it right there. And so, he's, in the orbit of the anti-trafficking movement. He is a, Navy SEAL, and, he does, all the things that he's talking about that he does. I'm not going to go into that. I'm focused
Wait,
on this
you're talking
primarily.
about Craig Sawyer now, or are you talking about
Yeah,
Mark Anthony?
I'm
Okay.
talking about Craig Sawyer. Sorry. So Craig Sawyer put out this post. He's in the anti-trafficking orbit.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a great concern to me when I saw this, because I had heard Mark Anthony's name before, nothing negative, but I've never talked to him personally, never met him. And I had just actually, his name had come up like 2 or 3 weeks prior to all this happening in conversations. And I would tell people, I've never heard anything negative. I honestly don't know anything about him, never talked to him or anything like that. And so then I open up my X to, do some posting or whatever. And then this is the first thing that pops up, because I don't follow Craig Sawyer. Of course, now I'm blocked. But so this came up, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is the person that was coming up in conversation just a couple weeks ago."
And
So
you don't know Mark at this point. You have no background. I mean,
no,
you've heard of him.
nope, nope.
Okay.
I have heard of him, but
Yeah.
I've never talked to him, never spoke to him. I've never heard anything negative. He'd come up in conversation just in the sense of, who this is, anything about him, and I'd have to say, no, I've never talked to him. So anyway, so I see this and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm looking at this and I'm greatly alerted, because I'm thinking, oh, this is a guy that just came up in conversation. So I click on the post. I'm expecting to see receipts. I'm expecting to see the allegations that are being made in this post. I'm expecting to see receipts for those allegations. And so I asked for receipts because there was no receipts. And the initial response, if you actually want to pull this up and then we'll go through the article, these were some of the responses over the course of the last couple of
Which
weeks.
one? I'll just click on him. Tell me which one it is, okay? Because we got a number
Yeah.
of them.
So, so this is one that is interesting, because I was asking for receipts and going back and forth diplomatically, I would add at the beginning. And he said, I'm personally invested with this guy, Anthony Puckett, or whichever alias he's claiming this week. His entire life is outlandish fantasy with zero receipts. Strangely, you're having a breakdown over one who simply says he does not represent us. So he's saying I'm desperation to hide fraud with no receipts. And I'm thinking, you're the one that doesn't have receipts. He said, this guy's antics are already well known. That's his behavior, not those who step away from him. The fact you're behind and it is your issue and not anyone else's. So that was just interesting to me, because I just think that if you're going to bring such harsh allegations, where's the receipts? So then go to the next one.
Which, by the way, I got to chime in here. Having been falsely accused of stuff, it's funny when you start putting facts forward, and people get all personal, like, oh, like with me, it's like my business partner. They always try to pick on my business partner and I. We've been very vocal that we're like business partners, but they try to make us out to be some kind of lovers. And I'm like, dude, what does that have to do with the controversy I'm putting forth? I'm asking for affirmative or negative, and you're trying to call names and stuff. So this sort of thing is very, when people start going off topic, it's very interesting. Here's the next one.
Yeah. So what I will say is that, I'm not attacking his work. I'm not attacking, and he kept saying my receipts are on my website. I'm not asking for receipts for what he's done. I'm asking for the receipts of what he's accusing Mark Anthony of doing. So in this particular post, I'm having to zoom in. He's accusing me indications of a secret relationship here on social media. This is Truth Social. He says, my post stated Puckett does not represent us or NIA. That is fact. Why are you falling down over that? So now he's accusing me of being in an affair. And I say in an affair because I've been married almost 20 years to a combat veteran who, we've been through so much together. He's my best friend. We were pen pals overseas before we ever met in person. So now he's releasing a public statement that I'm having an affair. And I'm in a relationship with this man I've never met. We can go to the next one.
It's interesting. It's so funny that I was just bringing that up about me and my business partner. It's funny how they always go there.
Yeah. This one is actually the second. Let's skip past this one because this is a second piece of another. Right? Yep, this is the first one. So if you pay attention, you'd already know. So this is how he responded to me when I asked for receipts. You already know that what I said is fact and sadly needed. How do I know that what you're saying is fact if you don't have receipts? It's just like when Hillary Clinton said whatever she said, or John Podesta, or any of these people say what they say, we just take them at face value. Where has that led us? I haven't taken those people at face value, but I'm just supposed to believe you based on work you've done. This isn't about work you've done. This is about a personal accusation against a man without receipts. In this country, we're innocent until proven guilty. And I think, this is something that he should be aware of, since he swore an oath to this country when he served. And he served honorably with Navy Team SEAL 6 or Navy. I can't get all that, but my husband was Air Force. But understanding that our rights are innocent until proven guilty. So I want to see your receipts. But anyways, what family are you referring to? Are you saying he's married? He doxed him. And when you dox somebody, especially in that works, hypothetically at this point, I didn't know if he worked in counter trafficking or not. But Craig does. You're doxing someone that's in our orbit, and you're in our orbit. That's dangerous and that's not safe. But even if you have a personal problem with him, take it with law enforcement if it's exactly as you say it is, or whatever. But don't put his family at risk by doxing him. Because Craig has a huge profile, public profile. Mark Anthony does not. Craig has massive. So anyways, here he is again saying that I'm in a relationship with him. He again says, why are you defending fraud? Do you know the guys who run NIA? Because I do. I know the truth. I stated facts. And then again, what's your relationship with him? And then we can just go on because he keeps accusing me of being in a relationship with him. That's defamation. Mm-hmm. Is there any other of those screenshots?
So there's this, but I believe we see this in the article. Then there's this.
So
calling you a leftist satanic pedophile.
Yeah, he's calling a survivor overcomer of child sex trafficking in the occult. I had 2 children. I just started speaking about this. I was impregnated with 2 children, and they were taken from me through abortions, and they were used as satanic sacrifices. And I don't talk about this a ton, but he's actually accusing me of being what those vicious monsters did to me. That's defamation and slander. And we have all of this, recorded. So anyways, let's continue on. So that was his attack. He comes after me. There was multiple True Social posts and here. Now, I'm bringing this up because I asked for receipts, and instead of producing receipts or saying I don't have any, He's saying my receipts are on my website, which is not for him. That's for the work he's done hunting down pedophiles. And then he attacks me as a person and slanders me and defames me. So let's go back to the article and then we'll, keep going.
Okay, one sec.
No worries. And I'm actually following along because the screen's a little bit bigger on my side. So anyway, so he's going through this whole process of accusing him of all these complaints. So the first complaint is he was using a fake badge and false qualifications to gain credit and access to numerous groups. This badge is 100% fake. Puckett does not represent NIA nor Veterans for Child Rescue. Please alert your personnel. Law enforcement authorities are aware of Puckett, his real background, and current fraud. Well, if that's the case, why aren't we letting law enforcement do their job? Puckett is most reported to us by single females for his advances. To our knowledge, Puckett has no military, law enforcement, or intelligence community history. So the interesting thing is he does not claim to have been in law enforcement or in the military. So if you scroll, so if you scroll back up just a little bit, right underneath where it says fake badge, there's a signal chat. So scroll up. Yeah, right there. Down a little bit where it says MSG Intel. This is actually, and you can see that if you, that is actually the same exact badge that you'll see down below. This is in a signal chat with members of the NIA LLC. I'm using that because it's not a government entity. And so I basically go through this badge. Let's start with this badge. The claim is that Mark Anthony does not represent NIA and that this badge is 100% fake. Notice the ID 10-C793. Pay attention to the details of that badge number or badge. I provided a clear copy of the badge from a group signal chat so you could see all the numbers front and back. So they actually, NIA dropped that in there into that signal chat. And notice it's got the front and back. National Intelligence Agency is not a government agency, but an LLC. Put their website up. They stayed on their website at the time that I wrote this article that he was impersonating, but of course they can't spell impersonating. I put a screenshot of that. So they're making that claim as well. Why would Mark Anthony be in a signal chat with members if he did not previously represent them? Who is the organizer of National Intelligence LLC? Who did they state they partner with? So I put pictures of the stated partnerships right below that. And again, I don't know if they are, that's just what they state on their website. And underneath the stated partnerships, the National Intelligence Agency LLC statutory agent, organizer, and manager is Justin Anderson. Everything posted below is available via public record. It's all open source. Arizona Secretary of State does not charge for the information or the documents either. So I put up pictures of this from Open Corporates. It lists the property address for the NIA, which is a residence. The first photo is from last week when I began to investigate all of this. The second photo is from the date of this article went out when I confirmed the address. So they ended up cloaking it a little bit after they knew that we were checking in on their story. Further records from the Arizona Secretary of State for National Intelligence Agency, LLC, also note that Dakota McCarthy is also listed as a manager member of National Intelligence Agency, LLC, and the results are below that, so you can see that for yourself. So I put all of the documents there, and the statement of change, I put that address on there. It's another residence. National Intelligence Agency articles, LLC articles of organization. All of this is free, open source. So Craig Sawyer's alleged accusation was that Mark Anthony's badge is 100% fake and that he did not represent the NIA LLC or V4C4, Veterans for Child Rescue. I have established to you above who Justin Anderson is as the founder, organizer, and manager of NIA LLC. So if you scroll down just a little bit more, see below, remember I stated to you above to pay attention to the ID number on Mark Anthony's badge. Look at the number sequence of Justin Anderson's badge below. It is 10-C748, so same sequence. Not only that, but you'll notice that he has the same exact badge. And this is not a government agency, so it's not like getting a CAT card or a military ID where you can't wear a hat in the picture. This is an events badge, essentially. And there's no hologram on this badge. There's nothing on it. And this is in the same signal chat. Look at that, MSG Intel. That they dropped, that Justin and Dakota dropped or whoever, I think it was probably, it could have been Justin, could have been Dakota, dropped the same type of badge in the same signal chat to our, now he's a friend, Mark Anthony, help clearing his name. So right below that, it says, we will be getting a PI license and have the three of us be carded, yourselves, Dakota and me. He's talking to Mark in this group, I'm guessing, and some others. Justin's badge number is 10-C748. Craig, do you know if Justin secured his PI license? The others, I enlarged this so you could see clearly Justin's face on this badge as well as the badge number. Now look at Mark's badge again. It's the same exact badge. Same exact badge. There's no hologram. There's nothing on that other. It's the same exact badge. Does it look different to you?
No, it's the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is not a government ID. This is not a government badge. This is an LLC that is issued these badges for identification to be used at events or, whatever. So I go through this whole process and I said, notice that Mark's badge is in the same signal chat as Justin Anderson. The Justin Anderson, who's the founder, organizer, and manager of the National Intelligence Agency, LLC. Remember, Craig Sawyer advised in his own message, which we already showed you at the beginning of this message, that Mark did not represent the NIA LLC, and the NIA on their own website stated that he was impersonating with this badge. How is this possible when Justin Anderson has the same exact badge, or the same badge, excuse me? How is this possible if Mark is in the same signal chat as Justin Anderson, which we've already established? Presented as Justin Anderson with Mark's own badge presented in the same above chat. Below is the same signal chat with Justin, the owner, speaking with Mark Anthony. You know what? Thank you for what you've contributed. As owner of NIA, I no longer require your services as a business development contractor. You are no longer with the NIA. So right there, that establishes that he did represent the NIA in some capacity, whatever that looked like. I'm just sticking to this article. And Craig's allegation and NIA's allegation that he did not represent them and was not a part of it, not affiliated with them, is 100% false.
Why would
the next
you do
thing?
that?
I am not going to go into the whys. I'm just going to stick to what I found. I know you really want to do that, but for reasons that behind the scenes regarding some things that are ongoing, I can't talk about that. Okay. So
respect.
Because of defamation that has taken place, I'm sticking to what Craig stated and what his allegations were, NIA's allegations, and then trying to clear Mark's name. So then I said, Craig, I thought you advised us in the public that Mark Anthony's badge and representation with NIA LLC was 100% fake. I'm sure that the above Justin Anderson badge is 100% real. Just to make sure, I compared the Justin Anderson badge with Justin Anderson on Facebook. He was easy to locate. I know it is obnoxiously large, but you could see clearly that it is the same Justin Anderson as the one in the badge presented above. And again, I'm looking at my phone. So scroll down to the picture of the gun and the sheriff's intelligence badge. And go up just a little bit so they can see the face of the guy in the Facebook post. I enlarged this obnoxiously large so you could see that this is Justin Anderson. Now, if you scroll down on this picture, up just a little bit, sorry. You see the sheriff's badge, and it says intelligence on it. 83 boys and the gun. So he's presenting a government badge, and I'm not saying that's fake or not. That is a government badge, obviously. But right next to that is 83 boys. 83 boys. So I stated in the post right below, why does Justin Anderson have a white supremacy badge right next to his sheriff intelligence badge? Right below that, I linked on the article, the Anti-Defamation League, and I took screenshots for those that wouldn't click on the link. What 83 represents, it's a white supremacy anti-Semitic group. And it gives you examples of where else the 83 is used. What's interesting is after I presented this article, Justin scrubbed his Facebook of all the photos, not before we captured all of them, by the way. And he, as well as others in his community, but that he's running with. But they scrubbed that and he changed his name to like Intel Goon or something like that. So does Jim Hogg County Sheriff's Office approve of Justin's additional badge choice? Craig's next claim, so we're going on to the next allegation. was that law enforcement authorities are aware of his, meaning Mark Anthony's real background and current fraud. That's an exact quote. Craig recently attended and spoke at a Rev 17 conference event at Glad Tidings in Yuba City, California. It is the same church I met Craig at last year. So I actually met Craig last year. This is another point in this investigation where people began to send me more messages and emails to clear Mark's name. Many people have fear regarding Craig Sawyer and some of his colleagues that he works with. They fear retaliation, and as a result, some of their names have been redacted. I will protect their identity and let each one choose whether they decide to come forward or not. Craig claimed that Mark Anthony does not represent V4C4, Vets for Child Rescue, and doubled down that he was and is 100% fraud. Listed below is another screenshot in which Craig reiterates his position. Because I know the guys who run NIA and I'm the founder of V4C4, I can definitely tell you he does not represent either entity. We've already established that he did represent NIA previously and his services were terminated. The next two images below are portions from emails that originated from Craig Sawyer to Mark Anthony, as well as Dakota McCarthy, who is also a member and manager of NIA LLC. So now there's a connection between the men that are the founders, members, and owners of NIA LLC, now working with Craig with Vets for Child Rescue. So in this email, there's, Mark's email, and Craig is in that email. He sent it to them. It shows you right there. Shows you the email also into Dakota. So if he's not working with Vets for Child Rescue, then why is he receiving emails from him and from Dakota, which is one of the manager members of NIA LLC? Why did Craig email Mark Anthony if he did not represent V4C4? The next email was sent to Mark Anthony from a staff member of V4C4 with an independent contractor agreement. Why would Mark Anthony receive this email if he did not represent V4C4? Why is Craig hellbent that Mark Anthony has not represented V4C4? See below. So you see this person asked to be redacted. So I redacted the first name off of these emails. But there's an independent contractor agreement that was emailed, and I printed these out and redacted physically because I think you can remove redactions, digital redactions. So my husband told me. So then below that is another chat that Mark was a part of within the National Intelligence Agency, LLC. All names have been redacted except for Mark's. So if he wasn't a part of the NIA signal chat, or if he didn't represent them, then why was he a part of their signal chat? And notice his name on there is Mark Anthony Puckett. It's not what we're about to see. Craig advised in his post that law enforcement knew of Mark Anthony's real background in fraud. Well, then why isn't he letting them investigate? He has so many years of experience. Why is he not letting them do their job? Craig's wife, Tressa Sawyer, and manager member Dakota McCarthy of NIA LLC, again showing that they are working together, share the below background check that has since been debunked and various individuals to include members that attended the Rev 17 conference at Glad Tidings Church in Yuba City, California. So this background check was being shown to different individuals attending the event. And additionally, Mark has provided to me a copy of his actual cleared background check. So he did that on his own and then gave it to me. I've only included the front page of the background history to protect all of his family names and personal information. So I actually, when I wrote this, I only had one, but I included two. So the first one is a false, it's not the background check for the right Mark. If you look at the name on that, it's Mark, it's like Mark T. Puckett or something like that. It's not the same middle initial.
Puckett.
What does it say?
Mark A. Puckett? Or no, that's not him. That's the right Mark. Sorry.
Go up to the one above it. Yeah, that one is the wrong Mark Puckett. It doesn't even match.
Gotcha.
So it says he's a fugitive from justice, evading arrest, drug paraphernalia. So they're going around showing people this. This is defamation. I can't go around and show everybody's background checks.
So this is the wrong Mark Puckett that they're trying to use.
Exactly, as a wrong middle initial.
Yeah.
Wrong middle initial. I know it's kind of blurry, but
Yeah.
anyways, so we got statements from people. So Mark Anthony's actual background check is clear. Notice the name difference. A novice investigator would know this. These individuals spreading. So if you're investigating things and you're trying to say that someone's committing this alleged fraud, then wouldn't you want to make sure that you have the name correct and you've got all the matching information? And why are you going to go show it to so many people?
Yeah.
These individuals spreading the wrong background check to different parties would know this with all their years in investigations, correct? Where are the criminal indicators for Mark Anthony in the report below? Now, again, guys, I blocked out his social, his date of birth, those types of things, and his family. But you can see on that section that has the arrows, if you scroll up, see where those arrows are? That all says no criminal history. Not only that, but Mark holds a concealed weapons permit, and he also holds a fire stamp, a federal tax stamp for firearms. You cannot hold those if you have a criminal history. You can't, is my understanding. I could be wrong. But anyways, we move on. So then after that, we go to the final claim, which is women have approached, said that he has, I'll just read what is in the article because I'm sticking the article. Craig Sawyer's final claim in his post is that Puckett is most reported, his exact words, most reported to us by single females for his advances. There were people immediately coming forward with evidence contrary to this statement upon the release of these accusations. Also, the complaint seemed to come from the same female source. Now, these individuals submitted their statements. They submitted affidavits. They submitted their own thing. So one of them asked me to redact, and I did. But the thing is that one thing I did here during this time that I was speaking with people and interviewing them, and I'm still getting messages and talking to people, that Mark was always traveling with someone, a male, and for the most part, that's the general consensus that I got from everyone that I spoke to, and that he was not ever left alone with a female, specifically this female. Find below a text message that is circulated to more than one individual and was sent to Mark Anthony this past week from a friend. Why is Christy Hutcherson involving herself in this as well? Is she also working with Craig Sawyer? What do you make of this? Posted by Christy Hutcherson, a fraud herself. This is according to this person. Alias Mark Anthony, real name Puckett, has been confirmed. It's not an alias. That's his middle name. He goes by Mark Anthony, guys. His last name is Puckett. But just like some people go by Sally Jane, he goes by Mark Anthony. Mark Anthony has been confirmed as a fraud and active infiltrator within conservative, faith-based, and patriotic communities. He has no verified background in military, law enforcement, or intelligence. The badge he uses is 100% fake. He does not represent NIA or V4C4 despite his claims. We've already proved that wrong. Puckett has been seen at multiple Reawaken Tour events, Charlie Ward gatherings, and Mike Lindell summits, where he gained access by lying about his background and fabricating credentials. He is also known for falsely claiming involvement in the child trafficking rescue space, bloviating and fabricating stories to boost his credibility, targeting single women with manipulative behavior and inappropriate advances. Numerous individuals have come forward, and law enforcement is fully aware of Puckett's real identity and conduct. Which law enforcement agency? We'd love to FOIA those documents. There is an investigation. Great. Tell us what law enforcement agency is involved. For any further inquiries, please contact Veterans for Child Rescue. Why would we contact Veterans for Child Rescue if there's an active investigation going on with law enforcement? Why wouldn't we submit tips to them instead? Craig Sawyer can personally confirm that Puckett has no affiliation with the organization and has misrepresented himself. We've already proven, based on the receipts that I've given you, emails and other things, that is not true. Both statements support the defense of Mark Anthony in two different situations involving the same woman occurring years apart. The first is a copy for a statement of fact showing that the statement was sent to Mark Anthony. I've copied the contents of the text over for formatting purposes. So you see the beginning of this message. Statement of fact regarding Mark Anthony and Christy Hutcherson. The weekend of August 27th, 2022, Mark A. and I attended an after-event get-together at John cues in Missouri while attending Mike Lindell's election event. It was pretty packed and drinks were flowing. I don't drink, therefore I was clear-headed. Mark and I were sitting alone at a high-top table and Christy H. approached us. She said something to the effect of, "Do you know who I am?" Then she proceeded with her story about $1 million bounty on her head and why she had a bodyguard friend, in quotes, with her. She appeared inebriated and spent most of her time focusing on Mark during the conversation. Her friend seemed to get annoyed with her flirtatious nature. Mark seemed completely uninterested, and in fact, when she left, he indicated that he had no interest. Mark and I shared an Airbnb. We consistently traveled to and from there together and without guests. As I recall, it was early night for both of us. I saw nothing inappropriate from Mark the entire weekend. And then an affidavit from Kim Yeater. I'm going to read this word for word because I'm not going outside the scope of this. I'm just reading what they submitted. San Diego, California, 7/11/25. I, Kim Yeater, am making this affidavit to state my experience with Christy Hutcherson. A year or so ago, I personally observed Christy Hutcherson at a Patriot event where I interviewed her on my Take Your Power Back show. Following that interview, a group of patriots from the event earlier that day met up at the hotel lobby to connect. I saw Christy Hutcherson walking over from the bar with her security guard. With what appeared to be clear intention, she angrily walked over to Joe Altman. Tensions rose in the room as Christy's voice rose. Her security stepped in front of her to shield her from the conversation, and she physically pushed him out of the way and began to be belligerent. I saw Mark Anthony and Louis Herms watching from a distance, checking to see if everything was okay. They walked over to assess the threat of the situation and offer support in helping take the animosity down. Christy turned away from telling Joe Altman to F off and mooned him and the group by lifting her skirt and showing her bare butt. She then headed to a bar table and sat drinking with her security guard and a friend. This wasn't just in front of these individuals. There's several people there that saw all of this and witnessed it. I headed over to check on her. Okay, he said, she then headed over to a bar table and sat drinking with her security guard and a friend. I headed over to check on her and asked if everything was okay. It was evident that she had had a few drinks and was still in a I'm going to kick some ass mode or way of being. I headed over to the bartender to check in on what had happened before Christy walked over to Joe as the bartender was trying to shut down the bar and send everyone home. I was informed by the bartender that Christy was demanding the bartender to serve her, and the bartender would not serve her because she had clearly had too much to drink. He also informed me that she had a few choice words to him. Joe Altman had shared with me that he heard Christy swear at the bartender, and he called Christy out for the way she was being. It was following this that Christy confronted Joe. Regarding Mark Anthony, at no time did I see Mark engage with Christy. As the night progressed, things stayed quiet and the crowds at the hotel lobby began to head out. I declare that the foregoing is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Kim Yeater. So there may be more evidence drops, and there will be. I will be releasing some of that soon, just open source information that I have located. But I wanted to make sure that I posted my research with receipts. The big question to Craig and Tressa Sawyer, which Tressa said I was a sofa journalist, which I do enjoy being on my sofa when I'm home and not traveling. But she accused me. She said, shame on you, do your research, which I did. The big question to Craig and Tressa Sawyer, Veterans for Child Rescue, and others, why? Why? A statement from Mark Anthony in the release of this information to the public. You can email me at the email listed on here. If you have any additional tips or information, your identity and information will remain confidential if you so wish. Mark Anthony stated, I give Mrs. Loomis permission to use all of my text, emails, and signal chats for evidence moving forward. I testify that I have never been convicted of a crime and that I hold a carry permit and a federal tax stamp for firearms on this day, July 15th, 2025. So whenever I saw this post, I went to TikTok and I sent a message to Mark and asked him if he would mind communicating with me because I wanted to hear his side of the story and find out what was going on. And everything that I asked for, everything that I, was asking, do you have evidence of this? He gave. He had all of it, other than other people who were speaking up on his behalf. So my question is why? Why are you attacking me for asking for your receipts?
Yeah. And I gotta mention this when you're talking about the ladies thing, it's really like, that's one of the false accusations that seem to cause most harm. And I've observed Mark Anthony, and from my observations, and granted, I'm not with him 24/7, he seems to be like an old school gentleman, if you ask me. Like old school, like, you know, opening the doors, lady ma'am, and just never seen. In fact, I notice like women feel very comfortable around him, and which is not usually the way it is if a guy's trying to get up their skirt. But just my 2 cents on him, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just give me 1 second. I'm seeing my door. I just want to make sure this person knows. Um, um, sorry guys, this is my real life.
No, no worries.
But
Real life.
yeah, so that's the scoop. Since this has happened, Craig pulled down the fraud post, not the videos. He pulled down calling me a leftist satanic pedophile. But Craig, I have news for you. We have archived your entire X profile, anything you've ever deleted, anything you've ever posted, and it's staying track in real life time. Why? Because you are not going to defame me or people that could be moving in this capacity and in our orbit. It is a huge danger to and safety to us to dox people like Mark in this capacity and put out this criminal thing. He could have been hurt, his family could have been hurt. You're accusing me. I'm not a public figure. I'm not in office. I'm not running for office. And you're accusing me of being in a relationship with someone that prior to contacting him through TikTok, I've never spoken to him, never anything. And not only that, but you have a brother that served, not in the same branch, but served in the Air Force, combat veteran. We've been married almost 20 years. You're calling me a satanic leftist satanic pedophile, and that's what I escaped from. So in addition to tracking everything that you've said, which I've proven through my receipts are false, you can put forward your receipts. I would like to see your receipts on me on these accusations of me being in relationship with any of these people that you state. I'd even Timothy Holmseth, I've never even met him. You accused me of working with him. I've never talked to that guy. I didn't even know that he had all these articles on you. You know, you're in your own court battle with him. Deal with that on your own. But I am just asking for receipts. That's what we do. And so you should retract your statement. You should issue a public apology for the lies, the slander, and the defamation. And that's just getting started. I think that you need to go home and do an actual heart search with the Lord. You're posting about Jesus and your relationship with Jesus, but meanwhile, you're attacking someone that is walked out of this stuff, and you've defamed a man and slandered a man falsely based on the accusations in this post. My receipts prove otherwise. You told me to do my receipts, Tressa. I did them. So where are your receipts? I'm not talking about the work that you've done. I'm talking about the receipts that you have on this individual. And then let's see them. Let's see it, because so far in my research and in others' research, we haven't found them. And so I think a public retraction, stay away from social media for a while until you can handle these things when you're being asked for these things. This is horrible. This happened to you, and I'm so sorry this happened to you.
You know, it's I gotta also mention, you know, when my kind of craziness happened with the third assassin hoax, you know, Mark was one of the first people that actually called me and wanted to help out, and wasn't like, he's like, yo, dude, you need some money, you need a place to hide out, you know. I've just had nothing but positive stuff from Mark, and I'm kind of shocked at all this stuff, especially the allegations of sexual misconduct, because that's just so wrong, you know. And I've never seen that from him. So anyway, this is amazing information. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a feeling the sequel is going to be the sequel on this one might be as good as the part one. Let me tell you, from what it sounds like with your investigations, you know.
Yeah, and this is just my work, open source, just talking to people. So if you want to send me your information, I'm getting a lot of information, and you know, I'm protecting the people because they really are fearful. So I will continue to protect them and what they're, you know, sending in. I've talked to so many people over the course of the last several days. And now that I am talking with Mark and asking for this information, he's never been inappropriate with me at all. And I've been on speakerphone with my husband. My husband has had great conversations with him as well. So thank you so much for having me. For anyone that wants to capture this article in real time, you can go to lynz.ai. And it's underneath the news tab. It's the top article with the Pinocchio nose.
Amazing, Lynch. Thank you so much for the amazing work you're doing. For the viewers out there, thank you very much for joining us for this Blood Money episode. We'll have a little treat at the end of this. I think I'm going to stick a music video at the end of this new thing that we're doing, music video, political campaign spots. So anyway, check it out. I will see you all on the next episode of Blood Money. Take care.
Thank you for joining us for the Take Your Power Back show. As Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater. Thank you for joining us for the Take Your Power Back show. As Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yater speaks to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Listen in weekly and learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be encouraged, be inspired, be transformed as you step into your power and take action in your leadership and allow your voice to be heard. Together, let's take your power back. To sponsor and support the Take Your Power Back show, go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com and take your power back.